Welcome to the table. And like always, got some awesome conversation and stories from today's guest. Had just a blast. But before we get into all of that, I got a couple things I want to throw your way like I normally do. Huge shout out to Live Rishi. This company and these guys make some high quality CBD product. Been using them for years and they've been a supporter since the beginning. Tinctures and rubs. If you know, there's a lot of benefits, countless benefits to CBD products. But the first thing that you're going to notice with tinctures, going to help you sleep. I use it all the time to help me sleep. So you're having trouble with that, need a little help, jump over to liverishi.com and let them know I sent you by using the code word table. And guess what? 50% off. Yep, 50, half off. And this is the way for us to show our support or our appreciation for your support to the show, and happy holidays. So check it out. And guess what? Also, I'm giving it away on my website, waltzkitchentable.com. Right at the top of the page gives you all the details on what you need to do to enter and win some awesome CBD product from Live Rishi. And while you're on the site, my site, I'm happy to announce that the merch store is now open. Yeah, I created some merchandise. I've been saying a lot of things over the years, and they call them Waltisms, so I put them on a shirt and a mug. Yep, and a mug, and I think a hoodie. I think it's on a hoodie too. Anyway, check it out. That's over on my website. And if you like what you hear, you know, the platform that you're listening to this on would love for you to post a review. You know, helps the show out a ton. And also, if you like what you hear, tell a friend or 7. Now, on to the show. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. You want to talk about fascinating? I just truly enjoyed sitting down with Scott and having this conversation. This guy is just awesome. You know, he's just all around cool dude, and you should hear him sing. I'm just saying. I'll have notes in that later. Some of the topics we hit into, themed hotels, digital nomads, of course, traveling. We always talk about traveling, which I'm a huge fan of. How about post-apocalyptic scenarios? Big fan of that as well. And hey, man, I got a guy. We all know that phrase. And his story about how his travel and the details we talk about the Great Wall of China is awesome. And guess what? They have a damn Burger King there. So, without further ado, let's get to it. And then you got to talk. Get a little closer.
Closer it is.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, you sound good, dude.
I feel good.
Thanks for coming down.
I'm glad to be here, Walt.
Doing a little sound check.
That's all right.
Make sure I can hear you and my things look good. Yeah, that thing, I had a big guy in here and he had a mic like this and he'd sit back like this. I'm like, dude, you got to get on the mic. He's like, my back hurts. I'm like, all right, I got to get a thing. And then the first couple episodes didn't have headphones. That was not good. That was a bad outcome.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can hear you, and if something malfunctions, I can pick it up as fast as instead of.
All right.
Yeah, and there's no editing.
See, and to me, it sounds like I can hear you without the headphones. Like
Take your headphones off. Now, if you put your headphones back on, how's that?
Honestly,
weird, right?
It's almost identical. Yeah.
But right. You're loud and clear here. See the little marks?
Good. All right.
So, what's new? Man, what's up with your mom had a fire?
She did, yeah. In fact, right before I walked in, I got a call. My mom tends to understate things that don't reflect well on her.
Opposite of my dad, he overflates everything.
Yeah, you know, I got a call from the facility that she'll be moving back into at some point, and she neglected to mention that we'd need to clear the furniture out before she'd be allowed to move back in. And I got a full slate. You know, it's fire damage, soot damage.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, so that will end up chewing up chunks of time that I don't have for the balance of the week.
Call the junk removal dude.
I'll tell you what, I'm thinking about that. The 1-800-GOT-JUNK or the
No, I got a guy for you.
college. If you got a guy, I'll take.
I got a guy.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
good.
We're in Jersey.
All right.
I got a guy.
I love
After
guys
the show,
who have a guy.
I'll give you the number. Yeah, good dude. Local guy, too.
Yeah, you could actually have a new state slogan in New Jersey: "Guys who got guys."
Guys. That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Nice. And how'd that fire start?
so my mom, I think is disabled. She had an aneurysm when she was in her early 20s, and her mobility has deteriorated steadily. She's in her mid 70s now. And, cutting to the chase, she was frying a piece of chicken. They don't allow gas in the facility. So it's an electric stove. I guess she mistakenly believed that you could walk away from a frying pan that's on a stove to take a restroom break.
Oh.
And I don't have great details on it, but whether it turned into a flambe that caught some stuff, or if a spark flew and hit, a hot oil could have hit a paper towel or the fringe on the edge of a dish rag. I really don't know. And even if candidly, given that my mom had to walk from the stove to the bathroom, I don't think she knows. She came out and the apartment was full of smoke. So, so property damage, but you know what? Nobody got hurt. Nobody died in the grand scheme of
shit can
things.
be replaced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what'd she do? We got her in a temporary place now, and then?
I do, yeah. There's a respite care facility. A buddy of mine is in the private pay home health care industry.
Oh, okay. That's big around here.
And he had a guy. So he actually had a girl.
I see a subtitle of this episode. Yeah. Got a guy.
Yeah, he had a guy.
Nice.
So he was helpful in getting her placed. It's expensive, but it's not deadly. As I said, nobody got hurt.
Right.
So, big picture, it's more a blessing than not.
Good. Well, I'm glad everybody's okay.
Yeah.
On to the next adventure.
I don't want any more of those adventures.
Well, that's true. But you go on a ton of trips, don't you? And your girls?
I travel quite a bit for work. And over the summer, I travel quite a bit with my kids. I've got 2 girls and a boy. So, we'll do recreational traveling, the Disney stuff, the cruise stuff. But a lot of the trips that I do are professional in nature, whether it's business development or client service work or executive coaching, leadership kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So, but the thing, didn't you or don't you have a thing where you take like 5 months off?
So I need to be careful with that. My goal is to not work during the summer.
Okay.
And last year, I largely achieved that goal.
Well, congratulations.
Right?
But you work your ass off the other.
Yeah, the nature of our industry is seasonal, and for better or worse, government intervened in what was otherwise a functioning market, and so a combination of factors have the majority of our clients renew their contracts with us on a calendar year basis. So, I would say 85% of our revenue for a given year is booked in a 10-week sprint that starts right after, let's say, on or about October 3rd.
Okay.
We got an 11-week sprint maybe from October 3rd through about Christmas, where we know over that 3-month span, if you will, what next year is going to look like.
So it's kind of like my buddy, he's a partner in a CPA.
Yep.
And we had a tradition after Christmas. We'd hang out and do all that because once New Year hit, I wouldn't see him till April.
And for me, it's once October 3rd hits, there's a 90-day underwriting window. And the difference, though, and I wouldn't begin. I don't think I'd want to trade workloads with CPAs. They answer to a clock. They answer to April 15th. But there is a distinction in the accounting world. You can file for extensions. In the benefits world, there's no such thing as an extension. And if you miss your cutoff, it screws up your cycles. So it's a different kind of pressure, but it's very similar. It's a solid analogy for sure.
Now, but the thing is, though, in the benefits world, like a new hire or a new baby or a death or something like that, obviously that can change. But other than that, you're waiting until next year.
So contracts that the insurers issue are unilateral in nature. So theoretically, if you wanted to, get out of Dodge in March after an April, or after a January effective date, you can. But based on the way the tax laws work, and the way benefit communication works, it's really hard to do. It's not that it's illegal, immoral, or unethical. It's just really inconvenient.
All right. So during those summer months, you'll work remotely.
That's the way to put it. Yeah, that's a euphemism for I will be on a cruise ship, or I will be in Disney World enjoying.
Well, with Craig, guest I had on a while back. What episode? Well, if you need a chainsaw is the name of the episode.
Yep.
He brought up the term digital nomad.
Oh, that's a great term. I haven't heard that, but
I didn't either. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And because he's in like the architect design space and doing all that. Mm-hmm. And what he was talking about, like a building that I live in, a company will buy it and turn all the apartments into Airbnbs.
Huh.
Right, for digital nomads.
Okay.
And every apartment has like a different theme, or each floor has a different theme.
That's kind of cool.
I've been in hotels like that, but he said it's going to Airbnbs because generations that are coming up are digital nomads. Everybody wants, all they need is this fucking laptop right here.
Yep.
And a cell phone. Shit, man, you can get about anything done.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit. I like to stay. I don't stay in them every time I travel, but I like the Kimpton, and those the design elements at Kimpton are.
Is that a hotel name?
It's a hotel.
Okay.
It's part. I want to say that it's part of the Marriott family, but they're these little boutique hotels that are really unique. They're known for their bathrobes, oddly, right? First one I ever stayed in was in San Diego, and you open, and I didn't know this was a thing. You open the closet, and they've got. I had a zebra striped bathrobe, and I had a not leopard skin. It was giraffe patterned bathrobe, and I didn't think much of it. And one of the people who was in our traveling party said, "Yeah, those are based on the San Diego Zoo." And everywhere you are, no matter what city you're in, they theme their bathrobes. Right? So we stayed in the Kimpton in Philadelphia a few years ago.
Was it a boxing?
There's you know what? The funny thing, yeah, it was. And the funny thing is,
it looked like a boxing, or like what Rocky'd wear?
It looked like a beat up old sweatshirt. It was like a hoodie bathrobe, but it was crazy comfortable. And I'm looking at it going, what in the heck is this theme? And all of a sudden it snaps. I'm like, you know what? This is Rocky. Yeah. But they do a nice job. They're quirky. But what you're describing, this digital nomad thing, sounds similar to what Kimpton's
cool?
done on a boutique basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how many times do you think those bathrobes get stolen? Imagine the deposit on those.
I think that there's a sign that's pretty explicit on how much they cost. So I'd expect that they don't get stolen all that frequently. I'm not sure. I could see a Kimpton aficionado wanting to collect them and paying the $50 or $60 for them. But they're nice, they're comfortable, they're nice, and they're interestingly themed. But
that's kind of a cool concept, though, right?
It really is.
I stayed in a hotel traveling for work in Denver one time.
Yeah, and
each floor had a different theme.
Right? Cool.
And the floor I stayed on was Austin Powers. So my room looked like something right out of, it was super cool.
Yeah.
But
like a laugh-in episode.
What's that?
Like a laugh-in episode.
Yeah. And so I, wake up call, because my buddies and I would go out, get all fucked up the night before, right?
Yeah.
Get a wake up call. And the phone, dude, no shit. Wakey. And I was like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? And the floor my buddy was on was Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, that's great stuff.
That would have been fucking cool, right?
If there was a hologram.
He said the door slid in and out.
Oh, with the swish sound.
Yeah.
That
was cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I don't know what other levels, but
I was at a confab last year in Macau, and they were talking about the future of virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and that hologram stuff. That's going to be real.
Crazy?
It's going to be real.
Well, you see those, like they'll take over a warehouse. And if you go in the warehouse just with your eyes like we are now, there's railing.
Okay.
And a little bit of mechanical stuff, right? But you put the goggles on, now you're fucking walking through the jungle.
Yeah.
And if you turn and there's a fire, they blow hot air on you.
That's very cool.
And they make it like really, really immersive and as real as you can.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I'd do one
really
of those.
Is cool.
I'd like to find one of those. That would be fun to do.
Yeah, that would be fun to do. Yeah, I've done escape rooms, which are not the same thing, but a virtual reality room or a warehouse would be really cool.
Yeah, because like you physically walk around and then there's railings to make sure you
don't kill yourself.
Right. And then, like I said, the one guy was telling me, like he did the jungle one. That's why I brought it up. He walked by like a waterfall, and you got sprayed with mist,
Oh, very cool.
right? And then there was some people around a campfire.
Yep.
And when you got close, you felt the heat of the fire, and
Yep.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And that's like some Blade Runner shit, right?
I'd like to have something like that with Disney's budget. You know, I think you guys would really do it right.
Yeah.
Thinking about there's a ride in the Animal Kingdom, the Avatar ride, where you're riding an animal, and it's a virtual reality experience. You know, you put on this full headset and you climb aboard, and you could feel the animal breathing beneath your legs. It's really, really cool.
Is that the one where the winged creatures they ride?
Yeah.
It's like one of those?
Yeah, banshees, maybe they're called. I'm not.
That
100
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I could see that being a banshee.
Yeah.
One question I do ask a lot of the
Sure.
guests, since I brought up Blade Runner, post-apocalyptic stuff, right? The way the world is,
It's like college kids getting stoned.
right? The way
What
the
would you
world,
do?
with the way the world is now, you ever see the movie? Holy shit, Postman, The Postman with Kevin Costner.
I don't think so.
It's based in the future,
Okay.
right? Post-apocalyptic stuff, and it's basically the 1800s, and everybody lives in hamlets and
Okay.
trying to survive, and there's
Yeah.
a big army that goes around. But anyway, you get the point, right?
Sure.
If the world was to go crashing down, do you think we'd be Blade Runner style or the Postman style? You think technology would survive an apocalypse?
That's a good. It's Mad Max comes to mind, right? So
I'd have to. Got to add a third one. That's a really good point.
Blade Runner makes sense. Even you know what else, dude? The Matrix. Like what
That's
if
way
things
out
were
there,
just
though, right?
so messed up where where reality ceased and everything had to be augmented or artificial reality?
What happens if it already is?
Yeah. Well, you could take the blue pill or you could take the red pill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but Mad Max, that's a good one.
I think I'd come down on the side. 20 years ago, I would have said it'd be Mad Max, right? Petroleum will be the only commodity that matters, and there'll be roving gangs of people
Right.
trying to one up each other for the control of petrol. Now I think technology would survive. I really do.
think so?
Yeah, I think we'd be more likely to come out. And there's another one, Big Hero 6, which I think might have been a Disney movie. It's a cartoon, but it's
okay.
about a future. I might not have the title right, but it's about a future where everybody is grossly out of shape and they're physically incapable of doing anything because everything's done for them. Right?
God, what was that Wall-E? Did you ever see Wall-E?
Wall-E, yeah. Big Hero 6. Maybe I'm conflating those. Maybe it's Wall-E.
Where the humans are like in this spaceship or in this ship,
Is that Wall-E?
and
I got the wrong.
they're floating around on something, and they don't do any physical
It's
activity.
like a cruise ship, except it's a spaceship. A cruise ship.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
that was Wall-E, that was the movie.
I think so. Yeah,
But yeah, I could see us.
I could see that part of that being an issue.
Yeah, I could see us becoming progressively either lazier, depending on perspective, or less capable. Technology, I think, would be the first thing that came back. I really do. I'm not sure.
Yeah, good question though, huh?
Yeah, somebody would figure out a way to get some mainframe back online and make their life more convenient.
Another one that pops up in my mind is something player.
Oh, Ready Player One.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that.
I could see that too.
I'm gonna have to change I'm gonna say Ready Player One instead of
Yeah, I could see it.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
Okay.
And the most dangerous thing in that movie was when the boy wanted to meet the girl in real life because and actually this was heartening to me, but the artificial life wasn't sufficient. He had finally reached a point where he realized it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I want physical contact, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Man, we're social beings.
I agree.
We're tribesmen, man. We want to hang out together and tell stories and do that. Nobody wants to sit on a well, anyway, that's another that's a pit we could go down forever.
Yeah.
Where's the last place you went? Trip wise.
I'm gonna blank on this. I'm heading to North Carolina in a week or so.
Business or pleasure?
That's business related. That's leadership development stuff. Where was the last place I traveled to? Oh, you know what? It was Bermuda. It was. I had an opportunity to take summer vacation over the one of several summer vacations, but I got to spend some time on the island. I had actually taken a cruise there, which I love. Got a couple of days on the island.
You a big cruiser?
The short answer is yes. And I'm surprised because
I wouldn't put you as a cruiser.
I was introduced to it by my ex-wife. It's got to be 30, maybe not, maybe 25 years ago. And, you know, my parting words were, I just hope this doesn't suck, right? You know, my mental image was that cruises were chock full of inactive people who did nothing but graze around the buffet all day. And I thought I'd be bored. And, you know, they keep you as amused or as entertained as you want to be. But yeah, I like it. It's and some of that now, because I travel with kids as a single parent, some of the cruising is it's convenient, right? The kids, they've got activities for the kids. But there are times though when cruising is insufficient, much like the guy we just spoke about. Where not having physical contact with somebody was insufficient, and so we got a couple of days in Bermuda, and it wasn't enough, and so we flew back.
No shit!
Twice in the same year.
To do what? To just explore the local and
we found an all inclusive because my first time in a place, I don't like to make a lot of decisions, so I have no idea how good the Yelp reviews are or the Yelp ratings, but there were several places that we'd seen on the cruise where we're like, it'd be nice to spend a night there, spend an afternoon there, or whatever it is.
Right.
More beach time or more. There's a place called the Swizzle Inn that's world famous apparently for their rum swizzles. And many places in Bermuda claim to have invented the rum swizzle. But,
really?
But
kind of like a Manhattan, right?
My money's on the swizzle, and so it was walking distance from the resort we stayed at, and I walked up the street, and we get in there, and there's it's shutting down. We are literally the only two patrons there, and a guitar player is finishing.
Who's the two? You and
Kelly and I. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right.
And so there's a guitar player just finishing a song, and we're like, oh man, we came up because we heard there was live music, which is a big thing for me.
Yeah. I love.
And he goes,
music.
he goes, you just missed my last one, and I'm like, hey, how about just one more? And he goes, nah, man, I'm really tired. I got to shut this thing down. I got to go home. There's nobody here but you. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you do only half the work. You play it, I'll sing it. And next thing I know, we're doing what candidly was just a killer version of Tom Petty's Breakdown.
No shit.
We finished the song out. We buy the guy a drink for accommodating us. And he goes, hey, if you want to come do a couple of songs tomorrow night, I'll be
No shit.
And he and his band were at a place that was, on the other side of the island. I did like a 4 or 5 song walk on. It was good stuff though. It was a lot of fun.
And what type of music were you?
When I was younger, I loved what at the time was considered heavy metal, but we look back at it, it's bubblegum, candy metal or the makeup and spandex stuff. 80s hair metal.
Yeah. But would you sing over in Bermuda?
Yes, it would.
Same stuff?
No, I can't. That's way out of my range.
Okay.
If you can't fit in spandex, man, you cannot be singing hair metal.
Hey, dude, I've seen other people in spandex. You can fit in spandex.
Yeah. Well, I guess it really depends on how much shame you're willing to tolerate.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, the genre now, Tom Petty, Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Was that a good time?
It really was a good time.
Oh, what'd Kelly think of that?
She liked it. She
knows you're into all that too, eh?
Yeah, and she's not a wallflower by any stretch, but she's very comfortable just kind of sitting back and observing life. Nice. She's not as much of a social butterfly as I suppose I am. She doesn't, and because she's not an only child, she's actually a middle child. She never got any attention growing up, so she doesn't crave it. I'm an only child. I crave the attention.
So how'd you guys meet?
We there's an attorney that we saw some work to, and I was at a professional function with him and his wife, and his wife happened to mention or happened to realize, I suppose, that I was single. Ironically, so we're together about a year now. We had dinner with that same couple who introduced us
nice.
just this past weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Her name, the wife in that relationship is Heather. And, Heather says to me, hey, you and I are celebrating our 1 year anniversary, which means that yours and Kelly's must be coming up. Yeah, which is fun.
That's good. Things are going good.
They really are. Yeah.
Good for you, man.
We've begun to integrate families. We've spent holidays there. Her family feels like home.
Right,
That makes
right.
sense.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about, I got a guy, you got a guy.
Yeah.
Her dad's real name is Pat, but he's just so ethnically Italian. I have to call him Carmine.
Carmine.
And it's become kind of a family joke because now everybody calls him Carmine, which is
that's
kind of
awesome.
funny. But Carmine's always got a guy.
Yeah, of course.
On those rare
Yeah,
occasions
yeah.
where I don't have a guy or Kelly doesn't have a guy, Carmine has a guy.
got a guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
What's she
funny.
do for a living?
She doesn't. She's a stay-at-home mom. Very satisfied. She's got a very. I mean, her career is busier than mine, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I have all the respect for that.
Yeah. She ran when her father was in the restaurant business. She ran a restaurant for her dad. So she's got a work history, but she reached a point, I guess, like many women, where she went into and came out of the delivery room, two different people. So
Yeah.
in a good way.
So, married before?
Yes. Yeah. Once before. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my wife and I were married each before. It just makes it, I don't know, just makes it nice.
Yeah, I believe in the permanence of marriage. I really do. It happened to not work that way for me, which I think was more a function of my, whether it's only childness or immaturity. But I won't make the mistake twice.
Yeah,
next time will be the
Well,
last.
the thing is, though, it didn't work, man. It didn't work.
Yeah, I'm just Catholic enough to feel guilty.
Okay. All right.
So
the way when somebody says I got divorced, I say congratulations.
Yeah.
Because apparently it wasn't working
yeah.
for one person or the other.
Yeah, and ironically, my ex and I maintain a really good relationship.
Good.
We co-parent really effectively. Her husband and I get along so well that my buddies break my balls and they call him my husband-in-law, which is funny. But he's a good dude, and he's effective in supporting my ex with her parental responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah,
and did Kelly brought how many kids?
Oh, there's 6 between us, so we're like the Brady Bunch, except the gender mix isn't the same as the Brady Bunch. We got 4 girls and 2 boys between us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a household.
It's a lot of people.
That's super fun though, right?
Yeah, my oldest is in college, so there's only 5 of them at any given time, but it's still a lot. And 2 dogs. So,
and how old are her kids?
they range from 9 through 15, and my youngest is 14, and my oldest is going to be 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's
That's a good
there's
mix,
crossover.
So. Yeah. And you guys live together?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, that it may come to that.
Okay, cool.
It's the kids all get along really well, so that hasn't been a problem. But actually, fully meshing a household that's got logistics. I mean, it's no.
That's
easy
why
thing.
I was asking.
Yeah,
I was
no easy thing. Yeah,
you got to get a half an apartment building with that many people.
right.
Well, I'm glad you're happy with it,
Yeah,
man. That's
I
awesome,
really am.
dude.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
Yeah. So, truck her around, leave the kids at home. You guys go on little trips.
Yeah, because of hers are younger, but she's got lots of family in the area, so her parents will help out with that kind of stuff. And we're also blessed to have access to childcare who've been on her side forever. So that's a plus. If we need respite time, we can find respite time. Yeah.
Do you guys take a lot of like short weekend stuff?
So not during busy season, right? So that 3-month period a year that I really break.
She's like, I'll see you in the end of December. I'll see you at Christmas time.
She's not quite that forgiving about it. And I kept saying, sweetie, I'm telling you, it's seasonal and I'm going to get through this. And this year we had a pretty nice fourth quarter, which means that the cleanup work is more extensive than we would have expected. So,
right.
It hasn't gotten to the point yet where it's calm. But she's good about it.
That's
She's
awesome.
good about it. Yeah. And candidly, it's nice to have somebody irked when you're not around. It's nice to be cared about in that respect.
Yeah,
So,
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
There's just something about, I call it the warm body effect, right? And I think us as a species, we like to have, like when my wife and I sit on the couch, she like when she goes to sit next to me, she like half sits on my leg and then
Yeah.
slides
Yep.
over.
Yep.
And then of course her legs fly over my legs. And
Yeah.
there's just something really comforting,
I agree.
you know, laying in bed at night and then you feel her leg come over and
Yep.
rub on your leg and you're like, this is nice.
Yeah, it matters. It
Yeah,
matters.
yeah.
Even I'm still a newspaper reader. I read 2 newspapers every day.
No shit.
Real paper, real ink on the fingers, the whole thing. And it's part of my routine. And even over dinner, it took me a while. One of the hard things about being either not single anymore or quite a bit less single is that I was used to eating and reading the newspaper. And,
Now you got to eat and talk to somebody.
and apparently that's considered bad manners in certain circles. And she was good about explaining it. She's like, "Hey, are you out of your mind?"
Yeah.
I just cooked.
Yeah.
You're ignoring me.
And
I'm like,
you're hiding behind a paper.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's flat, so I'm not.
You're not like up like this,
Yeah. But there are some things that you unlearn, and manners apparently are among them. So,
Well, how long were you single?
oh, it's like
A while, right? So
yeah, maybe not quite a decade, but
wow. So
yeah.
that stuff was ingrained.
You can unbreak a bad habit just
Oh, yeah, of
and
course.
develop a good habit. So.
Yeah. That's one thing. There's a book, a real book by my bed, and there's just something about falling asleep reading.
Yep.
A real book, though.
Yeah.
You hear when you turn the page, it cracks, and you open
Yep.
a little wider, it cracks, and the smell of it and all that. Just
Yeah.
something super comfortable about that. And it's bubblegum reading to me. Like I
Yep.
don't read the newspaper. It's like detective novels, like
Yeah, that's
Lee
fun.
Childs and Belducci or Baldacci, however you pronounce it. But
Yep.
and I get that from my mom. She's since passed, but what we used to do is she would buy these books and read like one a day. She would just,
A book a day.
Yeah, she
That's
was
playing the
she
game.
just super fast reader, but like truly enjoyed reading. And then I would get these books, I read them, and then I leave them on the bookshelf down in the lobby.
Yep.
And then somebody else takes it, and hopefully they pass it along. And,
Yep.
That's just something about reading,
I agree.
like physically reading.
Yeah, I like one of the things we do, and I wouldn't have thought that I would have quoted this play, but I took my son to see Beetlejuice on Broadway,
Oh, I just saw a buddy of mine posted that.
and excuse me, candidly, I didn't want to go. It was his birthday present, and he
chose it? He chose
got
it?
to choose it, and it
Okay.
was terrific. It was surprisingly good, and the source material. I almost want to watch the movie again because I don't remember the movie being good. I remember it just being quirky. But there's a line in it there's a couple that's recently dead in the
Right.
Beetlejuice. And
Yeah.
it's a comedy, so it's not morbid. And they reflect that there's 2 kinds of people in the world. There are new car smell people and old book smell people. And I've never heard it put that way.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I don't agree with the assessment, by the way. I'm a new car smell and an old book smell guy.
Yeah, I love a good new car smell.
But the old book smell, there's something about it. Yeah.
And like walking into like an old bookstore.
Oh, it's the best.
Part of our honeymoon was in Cambridge, England.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Going into some of them bookstores, dude.
Oh, yes, so much history.
Woo! Just feel it, smell
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
These old books, and it just, whew,
Yeah.
Speaking of cruises, we took the from was it down South England? Forgot the fucking name of it. The Queen Mary 2 from England
Oh.
to New York.
Wow.
The same way the Titanic went.
Not exactly the same
Well,
way.
okay, good
You're
point.
still here.
Yeah, but that was an incredible experience.
I bet.
Yep. And one thing I thought was really interesting was you being a cruiser. I thought you'd like this. So when you get on the cruise for the first night, they bring you into the big room and they do like a little Broadway show and
Yeah.
welcome to the cruise,
Yep.
doing all that shit. And she says, "Welcome to the last remaining operational ocean liner in the world." And she went on, and I was like, "What? What? Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense to me."
That doesn't make sense to me either.
Right? And I was like, "Okay, all right." So I'm going to have to look into this. And so then you get activity sheet in your door every
Yep.
day, right? And like you said earlier, you can do as much or as little as you want. But here you go. And the very next day, a guy in the auditorium was doing a presentation on the golden age of ocean lining. And I was like, I'm going to go check that out. So I go check it out, and he did a great job. And I just love consuming information.
Yeah,
so
I'm
this
with you on
guy,
that.
this guy was just pouring it out, and I was just loving it. And you ever read, or listen to the book, The Lusitania?
No.
Oh, dude, we'll get to that here in a second.
All right.
But he got into that too. But he says, a lot of you are, or he goes, raise your hand if you know the difference between an ocean liner and a cruise ship.
How many hands went up?
Everybody.
Really?
Or-
Except you.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Let me back that up. He goes, if you don't know the difference. That's what I meant to say.
That makes
if
more
you don't
sense.
meant to say, everybody, right? Just about
Yep.
everybody. And he goes, I'm going to put it point blank really quick, and then I'm going to explain. An ocean liner is to take people from one destination to the other as quickly as this is transportation. To take you from one destination to another destination.
Okay.
A cruise ship is the destination.
Okay.
And I was like, that makes sense to me.
That does make sense.
And he said the ocean liners back in the day, their main purpose was to stuff basically as many people on as you can. Obviously not
Right.
the luxury ones.
Yep.
And just transport people back and forth. That's
Okay.
what their job was, as a workhorse.
Yeah.
To where
It's like a bus.
a bus. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right? A bus. That son of a bitch goes 38 knots.
Oh my God.
That thing,
Wow.
thing was dude. You couldn't put your head out because we had a honeymoon suite and all
Yep.
that, and had a big deck and all that. No, and I took because we went in October because that's just the only thing we could do. You weren't outside on top like that.
I bet.
It's fucking cold. But one thing I thought was cool was I found myself just staring out into the ocean
Yep.
for a long time. And it was like, there's nothing to look at, but it was amazingly beautiful.
Agreed. I
It
totally
was
get it.
crazy. I was just like, this is, wow. That was really cool.
Yeah, looking out at ocean water that's passing by, especially if it's fast, is for me as calming and as interesting as looking at a campfire. Right?
That's it. Yeah, good.
There's no real point to it, but and my ex-wife who either talked me into or made me or suggested we go on a cruise, whatever it was, the first one.
The conclusion's the same.
She said that there was something about losing sight of land that forced all the stress from your body. And I didn't believe that, but I have found that to be true.
That's it. I could see that.
And I'll tell you what I think it has made that industry a little worse, although I understand why they do it. There was a time not too long ago where you could not access internet on a cruise ship.
No, okay.
It was better without it.
Oh, dude. So you just brought up an amazing point. I didn't know it with this podcast project, but it's been boiling in me for a long time, right? And part of that helped gurgle it to the top was we were on our cruise, and there's no cell service. You could get Wi-Fi for like $60 for
A day.
No, for like 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was just unbelievably expensive, right?
Yeah.
So your phone is a clock and a camera,
Right.
right? Which is totally fine with me because
Yep.
I'm there to spend time with my wife. And we did the whole dinner thing. We got our own table. We didn't do a community table like when we were booking the trip.
Yep.
So we, tuxedo, and she wore a dress every night to dinner. It was fucking, dude, the food. Oh, goddamn, the food
There's
was
something
good.
elegant about getting dressed for dinner.
Oh,
You get to
it
know
was-
your waiter.
And they opened the door for you, and the guy and it was cool because the guy that waited on you the whole trip.
Yeah, yep.
So
I
he
prefer
knew your
that.
name, and if you didn't finish your wine was sitting there. The bottle was sitting there the next day.
Yep.
All that good stuff. But there was a English couple next to us, and one thing I pointed out to my wife was elegance, right? Of course, it was top notch and all that. And I go, but look at the simplest thing. And she goes, what's that? I go, this table is not butted up against the wall. So you don't feel like in a diner when you go inside a booth or sitting at a table and you feel like it was, so when you sat, your elbows could be out and you weren't, because the table was kind of small.
Yep.
Right? So little thing, I don't know. I notice shit like that. But
no, it's an important part of your comfort.
Right? So we meet this couple, and of course it's a cruise ship, so you run into them all the time.
Right.
And getting back to no cell service, we would sit and talk like you and I are. The guy, his name was John Keynes, and somebody would bring up, the four of us would be sitting there, say, and somebody would bring up a subject. Well, nobody knew what it was. Or like, hey, do you remember that movie in 85? You know, it was about, had a shark in it. You know, you're just like picking your brain to remember. Yeah. You couldn't Google it and go, yeah, it was Jaws.
Right.
Okay, now what do we talk about? No, you had a fucking hour conversation, everybody trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Who
the actors were. And
it was amazing, dude.
Yeah.
No, it's that guy, he played in this other movie. No, not that guy, the other guy. And it was just creates great conversation. And of course, 14 Guinnesses later, you know, that's always good conversation.
That's funny too.
I got my bill the next day. I'm like, holy shit. Okay. But
you could have spent the $60 per 15 minutes. You wasted your time on the internet instead.
Yeah, right.
For the Guinness price.
But no, cruise, that was fun. And when we were leaving, the lady goes, you know, the cruise director, you know, whoever talks to you. She's like, "Did you have a good time?" I said, "Man, it was awesome. I don't have a single complaint."
Yeah.
And she goes, "You coming back?" I go, "Nope."
Oh.
And she looks at me, and I go, "That's not a knock on you. And I'll tell everybody how great this trip is, and they should try it. But when my wife and I have another week to do something, I'm going to go do something else. The world's a big place.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat and do this.
Yep.
You know, I'll go do something." And she's like, "Oh, I get it.
Yep.
But you're going to give us a good review," which we did, and it was well worth it.
Yeah.
You know, we just didn't pat their back. I mean,
yeah, I go back and forth with that. You know, sometimes the familiar, you know, Disney World for us is an every 2-year trip, and to their credit, they being Disney, there's something new there all the time.
Right? Yeah, sure.
But the experience is a familiar experience.
Right.
It's like hearing
with a little new trickled in.
Yeah.
Right.
But to your point, the world's a big place. You know, somebody had told me 10 years ago that Bangkok would be a favorite place for me. I'd have never believed it.
Oh, that's on my bucket list, dude.
Been there a couple times. I can't wait to go back.
Really?
Yeah. Iceland was extraordinary. That was a bucket list place. And I'd go back there in a heartbeat.
Antarctica is a bucket list.
I'd love to get there too. I really
love
would.
to go to Antarctica.
Penguins are my favorite animal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really are.
My brother just showed me a post. The South Pole got to 65 degrees.
I saw that.
Isn't that crazy?
I saw that in the newspaper. I just saw that today. Set a new record. Yep.
65 degrees. That's some ice melting shit right there.
Yeah.
Phew.
Yeah. Yep.
Iceland. Is that Northern Lights and all that? Iceland.
I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither.
I believe so, but I believe they're seasonal. And so
the Northern Lights are seasonal. I know that.
Oh, okay. So we didn't see them while we were there, but you know, we did a little snowmobiling on the glacier.
I think they're seasonal. I might have to retract that. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know. What I know is that whenever we were there, they just weren't part of the itinerary. It was a relatively short trip. You know, weird thing about Iceland, it's a shorter flight from New York than Los Angeles is.
You're just going straight up, right?
It just doesn't seem that way. You know, it's definitely shorter. So
now, what attracted you to Iceland?
So I belong to this entrepreneurs organization. This organization called EO. EO probably is responsible for more of my exotic travel than anything else. But
that's cool.
Iceland was a chapter retreat, so the New Jersey chapter decided, hey, let's go somewhere interesting, and Iceland made the cut. Bangkok was what's called a GLC, or a Global Leadership Conference, and that's something that they do every year. They move it around the world. Last year's version of that was Macau. So it's a weird thing, but when you think, well, I got to fly 24 hours anyway, right? Another 4 hours of fly time. I may
Right.
as well see the Great Wall. So we got to see Beijing, the Great Wall. I sang with a stranger in China, which was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Now, so you ever see those? I saw it on Facebook, and it was attractions around the world, what you expect and what it's really like.
Okay.
So the wall was on there, but to give you an idea, they showed the rocks there, Stonehenge,
Okay.
and they're like, "This is what you expect to see," and it's like two people walking around and like touching the rocks.
Yep.
And this is what it's reality, and it looked like a fucking rock concert with Stonehenge in the middle of it. There's just so many people.
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have known that about Stonehenge.
Yeah, and they said the Great Wall too. They're like, "This is what you expect," and there was a kid like running down the middle of the Great Wall,
Right.
And this is what it is, and it again, just butt to nut fucking people on the Great Wall. So, what was your experience with that?
Well, so I'll address that two separate ways. So Beijing was the most crowded, overly crowded place I've ever been, and I think culturally, I'm not sure about this, but I believe that the Chinese don't have the same sense of the other as Americans do. So their notion of personal space is very
nothing.
very different. I mean, they probably put twice as many people on an elevator as we would. It was.
Well, you ever see those?
suffocating.
You ever see those coffin apartments?
I'm sorry.
Coffin, like,
Oh, I have. Yep.
isn't that crazy?
It is. It's really crazy.
As big as my kitchen, they'll put 4 people in there.
Yeah, it's crazy. But answering your question on the Great Wall, though, so much of China felt really crowded,
Okay.
and some of it was just the raw volume of people,
Right.
Akin to and maybe more crowded than New York. The difference, though, is that folks would bump into you, and it wasn't rude. They were going
Just
from
going
point
about
A to
their
point-
business,
Yeah,
right?
it was daunting. The Great Wall, though, many more people than I would have expected, but
Okay.
it wasn't crowded. And I thought the Great Wall is something that no picture I've ever seen will do justice to. It was
Really, that was my next question.
It goes on. I'm reminded of the Who song, Miles and Miles, right? But it just goes forever, and it's enormous. I mean, it's the raw size. It's maybe the most majestic thing I've ever seen. It's really
wow.
really extraordinary.
So,
And
like-
climbing the Great Wall is no easy thing. I mean, this is built into mountains, and you are
Right.
literally walking up a mountain. There's steep staircases, and there were folks in our traveling party who couldn't make it. We were
Just physically couldn't make it.
they couldn't make it. And by the way, it goes forever. I mean, this goes for literally thousands of miles. So we
Right.
didn't do the whole thing.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
But,
yeah.
but there's a section of the wall that was, I don't know if it's commercialized or if many sections of the
With
wall
like popcorn machines and shit in it.
Well, there was a Burger King. I'm not kidding. Yeah,
That's the last thing you expect to see on the Great Wall,
it
huh?
really was.
But going back like to the size, like you see a picture of it, but there's nothing to give it scale,
Right.
right? So the wall itself, what would you say, 2 stories tall? I mean, obviously it's built on the mountain, right? So you take that away. So if you took the wall off the mountain and set it in the parking lot, how tall do you think that would be?
2's too small. Maybe 4 or 5 stories.
And that's solid too, right?
Yeah, it's
There's not like there's tunnels in it. There's no tunnels or nothing in it, right? There's probably a few here and there.
well, I don't know. Well, no, the wall itself is solid, but what'll happen is you're walking, and maybe the width of it is probably as wide as a street, right? So maybe 30 feet wide.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's a lot of stone.
And to the extent there are tunnels, they're really kind of guard stations. So you walk up these stairs, and then there's a house type structure that you walk through.
Right,
But the
right.
wall itself, to my
Solid.
knowledge, doesn't have any. I think the point of the wall was to not let anyone through.
Right.
Yeah. But
Damn, dude, that's a architectural. I was
Yeah.
going to say old. But man, just the manpower and the material for that.
Yeah. And I think and I wish it's It's one of those things where now I want to look at my phone because I think it took 1,000 hours, or I'm sorry,
1,000 years?
thousands of years to build.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah, that's not built over 25 years.
Yeah. They say
Damn.
Rome wasn't built in a day. It was compared to the Great Wall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Just imagine imagine how big of a threat you would have to put that kind of energy and manpower in to hold back that threat, or think it would hold back that threat.
Yeah, and I think you were talking earlier about the degree to which we're tribal, right? We want to be part of a tribe. The downside of that is that, particularly when communication wasn't an easy thing based on language barriers or ethnic differences, but people assuming members of another tribe are either dumb or evil or, that's the
your
downside
first
of that.
instinct is to kill it.
Right, instead of understand it.
Yeah. Well, that's evolution.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Iceland, so what was the big draw there? Like, what did you do for activity? Like, China was the wall.
Yeah, so Iceland's known for the Blue Lagoon, which is this hot spring of sorts that is amazing for your skin, which isn't something that I would give much thought to. But they sell the mud. This it's like a sulfur mud that's on the bottom of the Blue Lagoon. But and this thing, picture it's effectively a hot tub that's acres and acres and acres in terms of size. It's just it's the biggest hot tub in the world, maybe.
What'd you think? Did you get in it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a whole
pretty cool
ritual. I'd go back tomorrow. I really would. And the food was cool. The sushi was amazing. I ate whale there, which I did not care for. Tasted more like beef than like fish. If you think about it, makes sense.
Yeah,
Cows are mammals, but it wasn't good beef. Right?
Just wasn't tasty. You think it was prepared wrong or prepared?
No. I think it was our hosts loved it because that's their thing.
Yeah, of course.
It was not my thing. Again, we snowmobiled on a glacier. That was very cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, it was cool. My first snowmobiling experience.
Oh, I grew up snowmobiling.
Yeah, and actually, now that I think about it, it's my only snowmobiling experience.
Really?
So it's a one and only time I was in Iceland for it.
Yeah, any chance you get, take a snowmobile. It's just something freeing. And when we were in Vermont, I took my wife snowmobiling.
Yep.
She's never been. But the way I grew up, we had our own snowmobiles, and we would just go all back lot through the woods. So like coming out onto a 40-acre field with fresh snow, nothing's ever broken the snow.
That's nice.
And you go flying through there with your snowmobile.
Yeah.
There's something there. That was
sounds
really
fun.
cool. Yeah. Yep.
It's like the first boat on a lake in the morning.
Oh, yeah, when it's all flat like glass.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
You a big boater?
No, I love being on the water, but I don't do as much of that as I'd like to.
You ever been on a safari?
Not yet. Funny you mention that. No, but that will. I won't be able to say no to that in about a month.
You're going in a month?
Our next GLC is in South Africa. Oh. And again, if you're going to spend 17 hours in the air getting to Cape Town for a couple more hours and a couple more days and a couple more bucks.
I was just going to say in a few more dollars, right?
Yeah, it's too good of an opportunity to pass up. It just.
What will you do there? Like a 2-day safari, or like will you stay on a safari?
I'm a little embarrassed to admit I don't know the details. I know that it's 2 or 3 days. I think we're staying in tents. I honest to God don't know. Somebody else made the arrangements, and mostly for me it was do you want to tack the safari on or not? And
so it's like, give me a check and bring your luggage.
That's exactly what it was like.
Oh, there's some freedom to that, though.
Yeah, somebody else's responsibility for making the arrangement, and based on the history of the trips we've done, whether it was Bangkok or Iceland or any of these, even some of the places in Mexico. Everyone who's ever made those trips happen has done them well.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
I've got no anxiety at all.
Nice.
And a healthy sense of adventure.
You got to have that.
Yeah.
Right? Be a yes to it. Just whatever opens up, just get after it, right?
Yeah.
The trip that we just took to Costa Rica, somebody else, same thing.
Yep.
All the arrangements are made. Just be at the airport at this time and bring a bag.
Yeah. Perfect.
So much.
Yeah.
Turn the phone off.
Yep.
See you in a week. Horseback riding, zip lining.
Oh, it's great
river stuff. Oh, yeah. Just pool, jacuzzi.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of nothing.
All of life's essentials. Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine not too long ago go on a safari where they didn't stay in tents. They stayed in, rooms, but they're up on they're up in the air.
Yep.
So at night, and they're open,
Okay.
right? So at night, you hear everything, and you could like just walk out on your deck and like see all the shit
Yeah.
out on the safari. I don't know how much of that is fenced in and some dude in the bushes like pushing something out so you
don't
see
know.
it or whatever, but I'd love to go on a safari.
Yeah, it was something, again, not to belabor the Disney thing, but I've gone to the safari in Disney World. But and there are realistic elements of that, but it's not like a real safari.
I imagine there's
Yeah.
got to be something to see an animal of that magnitude being out in its element
In its element, yeah.
and not giving a shit about you.
Right, not even notice it unless you're hungry.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you just
yeah.
hope you're not the one that they pick.
Well, that goes to the old I don't have to be the fastest guy, right?
I just got to be faster than you. Yeah.
I just can't be the slowest.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So that's in a month. And
Yeah.
how often do you do that? Once a year?
It's the leadership conference is once a year.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So next year's, I believe, is in Washington, D.C. So not quite as exotic.
Wow.
But that's exotic for people who are from Cape Town, right? So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you gotta
yeah.
look at the whole group, right? As a
Yep.
whole.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I always do this, dude. Hang on. Some technical. There we go.
Good.
Yeah. Other than that, man, we're good.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for coming down, dude.
It's good being here.
Yeah, yeah. And that was fun with talking about some stuff. I know you're full of stuff, and on the ride home, you're going to be like, "Shit, I should have brought this up. I should have brought this up."
Yeah. I like the free form.
Isn't that nice?
I don't want to overthink it.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
One thing I did want to bring up real quick, I would love to. I think it's Iceland where they have quote unquote rooms. They're like igloos with glass ceilings.
Uh-huh.
And all it really is a bed and a bathroom, and that's it. And it's all in these big open fields underneath the northern lights.
Oh, that sounds great.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list too.
know,
I wanted to
I've-
bring that up earlier.
Always wanted to stay in ice hotel where they literally build the structure out of ice.
Everything's made out of ice.
They do them north of the Arctic Circle in Canada.
I would do that. That would be cool.
That would be fun. And even the beds are literally made of blocks of ice, which sounds awful, but I guess you're in clothing and they put multiple animal skins out, or they couldn't be uncomfortable because they're luxury accommodations. The bars and the places, they make their shot glasses out of ice.
Ice.
Right.
Well,
So
you ever been in bars like that to where there's one in Vegas where everything inside's made out of
I've
ice.
seen them. I've never been inside.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be an experience.
Agreed.
You'd have to be a yes to that. 'Cause
Yeah,
You'd be like,
yeah.
imagine going to the bathroom at night, putting your bare feet down.
No. I hadn't thought about that, but the floor must either be covered
There's
or
got to be something.
you
that's
must be
going
wearing
on.
socks. Something's got to be going on.
Yeah, there's got to be something with that.
Yeah.
But Antarctica, it's on the list.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I think that's cold.
Penguins
not
in their natural habitat.
Yeah, right? Oh, penguins.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down, dude.
Good. Thanks, Walt. Appreciate it.
I told you Scott was an interesting dude, right? But he's not a fan of eating whale. That was quite interesting, right? In the show notes, there'll be some more about him. So in closing, Live Rishi, high quality CBD product. Check it out. Use the code word table, 50% off. On my website, waltskitchentable.com, I'm giving it away. All the details you need to know right at the top. And also, while you're there, check out the merch, Waltisms, like the shit ain't gonna lift itself. Just give you a little teaser about one of them. And reviews. If you like what you hear, whatever platform that you're listening to this on, I would love for you to post a review and tell a friend or seven. Until next time, much love.